Now for the heart of the exercise. It was time to connect a USB disk drive and activate the file sharing services. For my first test, I inserted a 2 GB thumb drive into the WNR3500L single USB connector. Menu and status screens associated with USB storage, basic settings, and advanced settings immediately came alive and behaved sensibly. For example, I saw a prominent active option to safely remove USB device. I was able to assign a network device name and a share name according to the well-known principles of the de facto Samba protocol. Total space and free space status reports looked correct from what I remembered about that little thumb drive. This was encouraging. Next came the big test. From the prominent My Network Places facility on one of my Windows computers, I clicked on View Network Computers. I hoped I would see a new workgroup computer with the name I had assigned to my new WNR3500L's USB disk device. Yes, it was there. And I found I could browse into it exactly as I had hoped. All of my folders and files were visible exactly as they should be, and response time was reasonably fast. I've since measured performance, and I can read between 4 and 5 megabytes per second from these shared files. I tried the same thing from one of my Linux hosts using the free Samba browser, and I got the same result. I found that any of the computers all throughout the house could do the same. That little thumb drive was now a universally accessible disk service whose files were continually available for use by any computer assigned to the same Samba workgroup, exactly as I had hoped. I soon wanted to try it with a bigger disk drive. Returning to the WNR3500L's management console from one of my browsers, I learned that I needed to click on Safely Remove USB Device, and I waited for an OK message before I could remove my thumb drive. The management console made it clear that I could then remove that drive, and I did. The aforementioned button labeled Safely Remove USB Device turned gray, indicating that no such device was connected. Nice touch. I then connected an old 100 megabyte Seagate 9W3636 USB drive. This happens to be the oldest USB drive I've got. The drive's power light flashed ominously. It isn't supposed to do that. I concluded that the drive wasn't getting enough electrical power from the WNR3500L. Well, I thought, I've got an external USB power supply and a special cable for this situation, so I hooked that up. This time, the drive's power light glowed with steady reassurance, exactly like it should. I went back to the WNR3500L management console's USB storage menus and status facilities, waiting for them to register the change. I waited and waited. The Safely Remove USB Device indicator remained gray and passive. I waited some more. This has taken a long time, I thought. Eventually, I had to give up on that drive. I know that the drive is good, but it never did work with the WNR3500L, and I don't really know why. I suspect it may be formatted with the Linux ext3 file system, and that may be the problem. I'll do some research more on that later. Rather than lose a lot of time worrying about it, I just tried a newer drive. I cabled in my 250 megabyte Western Digital Passport drive, which is formatted more conventionally. It came right up, and everything worked exactly as I'd hoped. Cool. It's using a FAT32 formatting. With experience, I've concluded that many, but not all, USB hard disk drives work well with the Netgear WNR3500L. Further experimentation will be necessary as I search for an underlying pattern. Stay tuned. I think the ext3 file system is just not compatible. Conclusions? I like this. Now, any of the computers in my LAN can share files on the WNR3500L in the same way we've been sharing files on our slugs. Network attached storage is a wonderful thing, and we use it extensively. The shared files and folders are constantly available to all of our computers and our standards-based media devices like the Neuros OSD. With appropriate password security, we're even able to use port forwarding so that we can access these files across the internet. You can learn a lot more about port forwarding from other movie clips here at AskMisterWizard.com. I suspect that many of today's popular feature-rich small routers with USB disk sharing capabilities could be configured as simple NAS devices using these same principles. I've stopped worrying about the eventual need to replace my beloved slugs. From now on, we all have several reasonable options. Thanks.
If you have any questions about any of the things you've seen in this clip, please come visit our forums and see our free movies at AskMisterWizard.com. There are a great many resources there to help. Your online technology magazine.